A young guy is forced to fight for his life in real Hunger Games. He has to defeat hundreds of armed enforcers, a ninja girl and even a goat. Are you ready for some real thrash and madness? Let's go then. Once a year, the inhabitants of this town are subject to a culling. The head of the town, Hilda van der Kooi, together with her family, makes a list of people she doesn't like and takes up arms. In the middle of the night, someone's hand emerges from the ground in a dark forest. It is the boy who survived the encounter with Hilda. A shaman living in the forest finds him and heals his wounds. The shaman is an experienced fighter and he takes the boy as his apprentice. He trains hard every day, plays with bugs, reads books, and recalls his sister Mina. They like to eat breakfast cereal and watch TV shows. Also, they enjoyed playing all sorts of games. Unfortunately, that's just in the past. Now he has to do whatever it takes to survive. The boy needs to grow up and get revenge. We learn that he's a deaf mute, but that wasn't always the case. He could hear and talk when he was with Mina. This girl was so brave, she wasn't even afraid of Hilda herself. The boy continues his training. They become more and more difficult with each passing day, but the boy doesn't give up and does everything to become a real fighter. Years pass. The protagonist is already grown up. He has indeed become very strong, although it is still a challenge for him to defeat his mentor. He learns to use various weapons, fights against an opponent with knives, and even meditate. It's not as easy as it sounds, as Mina keeps appearing in his visions. The boy comes to the market, and a pretty saleswoman holds out flowers to him. At that moment, a car with Hilda van der Kooi's people shows up. It looks like it's time for another culling. The people scatter to their homes, hoping they won't become new victims of this crazy family. Hilda's men capture them and drag them to the site of the culling. All the residents are obliged to come to the main square of the town immediately. The protagonist recalls the moment when Hilda's men came for his family many years ago. Two men, Glenn and Gideon van der Kooi, go out of the car. They are Hilda's relatives. Glenn states that they are going to gather 12 men to participate in the culling. None of them are supposed to survive. People beg for mercy. A woman in the crowd berates Glenn and curses him. The enraged man shoots into the crowd and hits one of the civilians. A riot breaks out among the crowd. People lounge at the enforcers, but they are quickly stopped by one of Hilda's fighters. It is a slender girl in a helmet. Many shots are heard. Glenn is furious. He now needs to find 12 more people for the culling. What's more, he has to clean up the mess they've made here. The main character tells the shaman that it's time to put an end to this lawlessness. He finds the van der Kooi's car and gets in the trunk. The car arrives at some warehouse. The boy gets out and keeps a close eye on Glenn and Gideon. Melanie van der Kooi shows up and scolds her relatives for their failed culling. She demands them to prepare 12 people for the evening and make a hell of a show. Mina's ghost appears next to the protagonist. This significantly complicates his mission, because he is constantly distracted by his sister. Mina puts on a ninja costume with butterfly wings and decides to explore the area. The boy rushes after his sister and gets spotted by Glenn and his men. The protagonist tries to escape, but since he doesn't know where the exit is, he engages in a fight with his pursuers. Fortunately, the shaman's training didn't go to vain, and the boy shows real wonders of martial art. He doesn't need weapons because he is the weapon. The main character deals with several of Glenn's guards, releases a captive named Basho, and continues the brawl. His opponents scatter in different directions, and even rifles can't help them. One of the boy's last opponents proves to be very strong and tough, but he loses his fight too. Glenn is the only enemy left. Basho, along with the protagonist, takes him hostage and interrogates him. Glenn informs them that Hilda holds a big party every year before the culling and offers his assistance. Alas, Basho accidentally drops a very large and very heavy vice on him. Basho takes the protagonist to a meeting with the members of the resistance. They go to their base and discover that the van der Koois have already been here. After their visit, there is only one fighter named Benny left alive. The resistance fighters find a layout of Hilda's estate. Melanie and Gideon van der Kooi will be there. They will be guarded by an enforcer known as June 27. But the main target is obviously Hilda herself. Fighting their way in is definitely not an option. There are too many guards inside. Maybe they can try to sneak in through the dining room. June 27 and the battle robot will be there, so the protagonists have to defeat them to advance further. All three of them take as many weapons as possible, get into an armored SUV, and make their way to Hilda's estate, where the big party is being held. The boy disguises himself as the chef who is supposed to bring the party cake to the guests. He is accompanied by Mina's ghost. The protagonist eats a plate of macaroons and notices the Van der Koy's family in the hall. The boy bursts into the kitchen, takes off his chef's uniform and grabs a frying pan. He's now facing a battle with all of the kitchen staff. Graters, knives and fists come into action. The boy sneaks into the main hall and attacks the vile Hilda. Alas, it was nothing more than a bait. Gideon grabs a weapon. The main character realizes that the guests sitting at the table are all doppelgangers of his enemies. The cunning plan was designed by Gideon, who expected an attack on his family before the day of the culling. The boy takes Gideon hostage and all the actors immediately scatter. June 27 shows up and attacks the protagonist. He thinks he can easily cope with her, but no. She's an ultra-professional fighter and shows the wonders of hand-to-hand combat. At one point, the boy manages to take off her helmet. She is a real hottie. The main character gets distracted by Mina's ghost, and June 27 throws him down the stairs right onto the party table. The boy recalls his childhood and his encounters with the shaman. It was only thanks to this man that he was ever able to survive. The protagonist comes to his senses. June 27 says she recognizes the shaman's fighting style and demands the boy to bring her to him. You remember he's a deaf mute, don't you? Gideon and the boy are left alone. The man pretends he wants to help the protagonist. He's fed up with his bloody life too. It turns out that Hilda invented all of these cullings to protect herself from the shaman. She's been living in a bunker for years and has gone completely insane. Melanie enters the room and chases Gideon away. She informs the boy that he will be one of the 12 participants of the culling and sends him to the studio for preparations. The show will be broadcast live. Hilda herself, whom no one has seen in years, walks onto the stage. The audience welcomes her with applause. The woman notices the protagonist, freezes for a second, and continues her pompous speech. At some point, she draws a gun, but the guards immediately take her away. The boy finds a scalpel that Gideon has put in his pocket and used it to free himself from the chains. The show's sponsors, Pineapple Pal, Octo Thief, Harry the Goat, and few other strange characters take the stage. That's the real madness. The culling begins. The fairy characters attack the show's contestants. It's both very scary and funny at the same time. Harry the Goat approaches the boy and raises his hammer. He attacks not the protagonist, but his enemies. The goat takes off his mask. It's Basho. Shortly after, Benny enters the arena with a rifle. Let the chaos reign. It turns out they disguised themselves as security guards and snuck into the show. During the great battle, the main characters manage to defeat a great number of their rivals using the most incredible fighting techniques. Speed, agility, a lot of weapons, and a little bit of cunning. The boy even has to fight against the pirate using a knife and a carrot. Mina's ghost is terrified of this scene. All of a sudden, Melanie shoots a rifle. Benny sacrifices himself to protect the main character. Basho is also seriously wounded. The boy hides from Melanie behind a huge pineapple. He rolls it down the slope and knocks the girl down. The protagonist executes her on camera. The boy heads to Hilda's bunker along with the wounded Basho. He massacres a bunch of guards like a true demon, recalling the most gruesome moments from his life, and sees that Basho didn't survive his injury. The protagonist finds Gideon. The man is also badly injured. He gives the boy a keycard to the elevator that leads to Hilda's bunker. Mina's ghost asks her brother to spare Gideon, but he doesn't listen to her and raises his katana. The boy walks into the elevator. It's equipped with a camera and a microphone. Hilda communicates with him and says that he will never defeat her. The protagonist responds by showing her Mina's drawing. The elevator door opens. June 27 informs Boy that Hilda wants to see him. The girl takes him to the bunker. Pictures of the Van der Koy family hang on the walls there. depicting him and Mina. Hilda embraces the boy and declares that he is her son. That's when the protagonist recalls the whole truth. Years ago, his mother forced him to massacre the shaman's family. After that, the boy fled into the jungle in terror. The shaman found him there, mutilated him, used psychotropic substances to affect his mind, and made him believe that it was Hilda who took the lives of his mother and sister. But the truth is that Hilda is his birth mother. Moreover, June 27 is his sister Mina, and as we see, she is perfectly fine. The shocked boy can't hug his mother after all that he has learned. Then, the furious woman orders June 27 to get rid of him. The girl attacks the main character. He shows his sister their childish gesture, and then she uses her axe against her mother. Boy and June 27 massacre the remaining guards. They are both super experienced fighters, and what's more, they know how to work as a team. Their enemies don't stand a chance of survival. As the characters move towards the exit of the bunker, they encounter the shaman. The man claims it's time for revenge. They all engage in a fierce battle, during which it becomes apparent that the shaman is much stronger than his opponents. With great difficulty, the boy stabs his mentor with his pointy necklace. The wounded heroes get out of the bunker and reminisce about their childhood. They leave this cruel country and enjoy their favorite cereal again.